What is a major red flag when you see a portfolio?
Spelling mistakes. We wanted to hire staff who are self-checking their own work.
You're just showing these huge glossy projects, but with no context about what your role was, it's kind of useless.
A potential employer is going to see a chaotic portfolio and potentially not get past the layout to even consider the content. See, I would suggest starting with the strongest image on every project.
We can take in imagery so quickly in our line of work that this needed 15 images on it. They could have condensed those 3 or 4 pages into one page. Grab my attention.
I like
it.
it.
Me too. I like it.
Beautiful graphic.
I'm old
This is
school.
vibrant.
Bigger
Yep.
ground, bang.
Matt, would you want to interview this person to see more?
Honestly, that's what I'm looking for. That's what we're employing you for.
Hey guys, welcome to the Bespoke Careers Portfolio Podcast. Today we're going to be discussing 3 portfolios. We've got 3 bespokers and 1 special guest. We've got Matt Reynolds from Woods Bagot.
G'day.
We've also got Krista Shearer, our Managing Director in Sydney.
Hello.
And Misty Waters, who is Principal at Bespoke Careers in Sydney.
Hello.
So today's session is all about portfolios, portfolio layouts, and how to tailor your portfolio for a professional job application or as part of your job search. But before we get into the portfolios, we're going to start with one question. What is a major red flag when you see a portfolio? Matt, I'm going to start with you.
Thanks very much. Okay, my red flag is probably spelling mistakes. So this is a project portfolio they've had a chance to dwell on and polish up, and then if that comes in front of me and there's spelling mistakes, those sorts of things, grammatical errors, then I've got a problem with that. I mean, all the other information, is a reflection of them, but spelling mistakes and those sorts of things. We wanted to hire staff who are self-checking their own work before it goes up to team leaders and or out to clients, etc. And so we want to make sure that portfolio's got that rigor in it.
I'd also say that the length, I think when you open it up and you see 50 pages, you think, oh, no director who's sitting there looking through portfolios really wants to go through 50 pages. They're very busy, they're time poor, they need a succinct representation. The CV part, I think, should be probably 2 pages. We see directors' CVs that are that length. I think Misty would probably talk more to that. But then the portfolio should be, sectioned out with detailing different, aspects of what they might be capable of. And maybe, I don't know, I'm thinking 10 to 15 max on projects.
One of the things we do see quite often is a folio that's very heavy on the beautiful 3D image or the beautiful photo. And it's much better to include some drawings or at least some written text explaining what your role was, because if you're just showing these huge glossy projects but with no context about what your role was, it's kind of useless. It just shows that you've worked in a good practice, but it doesn't actually tell us anything about you.
Yeah.
You want to see that process.
Yeah. I just think the layout, like if the layout of the portfolio, if you're instantly seeing a portfolio that looks chaotic or it's been put together without a care or attention for detail in terms of the alignment of text, the alignment of images, the use of white space or blank space, a potential employer is going to see a chaotic portfolio and potentially not get past the layout to even consider the content if the layout's not been carefully thought through and presented, in a quite succinct and neat way. So I think, the layout, if the layout's not right from the beginning, you're potentially not even going to get looked at in terms of
you glaze over.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at a mess rather than something necessarily clearly defined.
Yeah. And, you're making it hard for that person to maybe delve into it. If it's really clear and you can kind of flick through a few pages and the layout's really neat, it's kind of like a story that tells itself. Whereas if the layout's chaotic and it's messy or it's too noisy, too busy on the page, you're making someone work harder to find that piece of information that they're actually looking for. So that can be quite off-putting, I think.
So true. And so true with working drawings. Trying to teach young staff and even more senior staff to lay out a drawing to go to site to be clean layout makes less RFIs on site.
Yeah.
And that's reflected in your folio to an extent.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they're all actually really visual things straight up. And the amount of times that we do see a spelling mistake on the front page with things like the word resume or curriculum vitae, people can often overlook those words because they see them all the time.
So now we're going to delve into the portfolio reviews. So first up, we've got a portfolio from a Part 2 architectural assistant and urban designer. I'm assuming this is from the UK. So this is Aasif, who has graduated from architecture and urbanism at University of Manchester School of Architecture, which is where I went to.
Lovely.
So, any thoughts on this first page with the CV information on it?
I like it. I think it's really succinct. I think we can when they're interviewing, they can immediately talk about themselves over the content that's on this. It's pretty well laid out, pretty clean. I do like the hay sticking out there. It's kind of it's informal, I think, and then you can get into the real nitty gritty of the CV here.
I agree. It's nice, and there's lots of little logos, so you can, there's diagrams, logos. The layout is pleasing, and the staggering of the column widths from the left to the right really draws you in.
My main comment would be there is controversy in the philosophy of a CV and whether or not you should include a headshot. A lot of people say you shouldn't. It's completely irrelevant to your capability. But I think particularly with a graduate or a very recent graduate where you don't have a lot of experience, it does it just makes it a little bit more engaging. You're a little bit more likely to linger on the page, or you look at that young, shiny face. He's just graduated and you just really want to give him a job, don't you?
He's in the gown. He's ready to go.
He's ready to go. He looks so
smiling.
enthusiastic. So you can't help but kind of go, oh, let's have a good look here.
I agree. He's got the thumbs up. He looks happy. He looks positive.
Yeah.
That's the kind of professional headshot you want.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
It shows a bit about him.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's lovely.
I like it. I think just showing your education, experience and software skills, you can see that within 3 seconds of looking at the page, and that's really the 3 key points that people are going to be looking at to start with, I would suggest.
Yeah.
So I think that's good.
Especially for a grad, because that's what they're looking at really, because your experience might be minimal, so it's nice to see he's got a lot in there in that software skills.
Into the layout sheet, so we've got a kind of introduction for the project and then the first page. What do we think here?
I like the fact there's a mix of like hand drawings and a coloured render. Like it's already quickly giving you the sense that he's got a range of skills, which is good.
I like the fact on that first page he even showed what software he was using. So he's got the 4 different emojis, or not emojis, but the icons for those.
Yeah. I don't know.
I
So
like that. I like
so
that
you're
too.
diving in, you're already going, okay, he's employed these different software on this project, and again the non-software of a hand drawing. Or was that AI?
And I like the clear numbering. This is number 1. So
Yep.
we've finished the CV and we're in the portfolio.
Yeah.
The
only thing that's not automatically clear until you read closer probably is whether this was university work, which I'm guessing it probably was, but it's not. That's something that we often struggle with is, you want to clearly communicate and really emphasize your professional experience as soon as possible and differentiate it from your student work. It's good to show both as a young graduate, but
That's true. If you've got professional work, typically put it at the front.
a lot of students don't want to, because a lot of their early professional experience is so boring. It might be just all toilet sheets or something boring, and
Very
they want to show you
useful,
their
though,
design
sanitary
work.
package.
But yeah, it's a fine line.
Honestly, that's what I'm looking for. That's what we're employing you for. So we're looking at that technical information that you are doing initially. So you
but Matt, you're very technical. There are people that are looking for the design, the shiny new designer coming out of uni too. So you do want to show a bit of everything, and it's hard to show everything straight away, but do be careful about filling up 50 pages of student work before anyone's realised, they've actually got some actual
the
experience.
director who's really busy, who's looking at it, or the Matt is, they want to get to it quickly, don't they?
Yeah. So we do have a bit of sort of hand sketch and render material here, and then the next page goes a little bit more technical. We've got some diagrams and a general arrangement
Master
plan.
planning, that's good.
We have lost the software symbols.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, because it was at the front of the. This is the same project. They've displayed
It's the
what
same
those.
project, okay.
The software is
we're on
using.
project 1.
Yeah. So I think this is nice. It kind of shows a narrative. Like you've kind of seen what the project looks like in 3D, and then you can kind of go and say, okay, this gives it a bit of context within a site. Maybe it shows a little bit of the strategy and the overall concept with the diagrams.
Lots of nice white space we like, not filled with lots of graphics and colours, backgrounds and borders. You don't
not
want all
overwhelmed,
that
not
fussy.
cluttered.
Yeah, not cluttered, nice and simple.
I think we exploded axonometrics good too. I think it's always nice to see that kind of diagram. I don't know about shortening the word axono. Is that what people do?
It's always axo or axonometric.
Yeah, I've never seen
axono.
axono. That's a new one.
That's
I'd probably
the new style,
stick to the standards.
Gen Z Axo.
Yeah.
I'm getting a bit bored here. This looks studenty.
They look
but
studenty.
a little bit more detailing, I guess. They've thought about this.
The layout of the font on those details is not something you would see in a practice.
Yeah, staggered text, etc. Yeah,
True.
Yeah.
So I'd probably
Delete.
And some sections.
That's better.
Yeah, that's nice.
I mean,
The
bottom
rendered
image is
section's nice. Yep. We're
And
still
then
on the
the
same
renders.
project. I feel like we've on
I feel like we've got
project
too many
one-
pages for this one project.
Maybe so. Maybe so. And
Final
this is the final
outcome.
outcome.
No.
This is probably the strongest image, actually,
Yeah.
of the whole project. See, I would suggest almost starting with the strongest image on every project. I think, particularly because it shows quite a wide lens as well, it almost shows the entire site. So it gives it a bit more context so that when you go on to see the general arrangement plan and the diagrams, because you've already had this kind of wide lens hero shot, so to speak, you've probably already got a bit of a sort of visual on what the project looks like overall.
Yeah.
And then once you go into the details, you can kind of say, okay, I understand where that was on that initial image that I saw.
Yeah.
But I also think capturing the attention with the hero shot, so to speak. Like,
I think if you were emailing this through, if this was an email for a job, then this would be too long for one project. I think we've gone too far. But I think if you were in studio presenting in person with it printed out with a folio or on an iPad, you could probably flick through and show
Pretty quickly.
all of them. But this is probably,
Depending what else you've got.
what have we got coming
Yeah,
up?
like
what else have you
is
got?
this a 600-page folio
Let's
or
see.
something? The other thing I'd
Settle
say
in.
just on that one is that what it does for us when we're reviewing them is we get to see all the different skill sets and we get to see diagramming. We get to see, they may not necessarily have mastered detailing, but they obviously have covered it at uni, and we get
Yeah.
to see that they're starting to dive into that, so there might be some understanding.
Yeah.
And if we don't see that, then we don't know, are you capable of that? Have you thought about it? And obviously everyone at uni does that if they're a graduate of masters, etc. But it's good to see what level they're at, and we can compare that against other grads. So I think it's in terms of that one project, they've covered a lot of bases.
yeah. Project 2, Riverfront Development. So at least we've got consistency here. Like the I suppose cover page for each project has consistency. The layout's very consistent. It's neat. The hierarchy of text is consistent, and the software again has been used. So at least we're sort of getting. It's very clear in terms of there's a rhythm to it. We know when there's a new project, and we also know which softwares have been used. So I think the consistency in the layout is very strong.
Yeah, but this is where we want to see that hero shot there.
Probably
Bang.
so.
Reversed out white font over the top of that image.
Yeah.
Bang.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice
Okay.
page here. Good layout.
Yep.
I like that they're able to do lengthwise diagramming and then short up above. They know how to sort of lay out a page pretty well.
Depending on the project.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks,
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, they haven't, I'm guessing this is a student project, but because if it was a professional project, they haven't clearly said what their role was, but I'm assuming this is a student project, so that's all their work.
So we've got some visualizations as well. This is good.
Yeah.
Photo montage, nice.
So
Different
we're
sort of
assuming,
renders.
I'm assuming this must be their own visualizations.
Yep.
That's a nice page.
Yeah.
Some context.
A little bit of different scale of project.
Maybe a bit dry, these
Yeah,
last two
I'm not gonna
pages.
do this one. I'd probably take that out.
Oh, this is
Potentially, and so then potentially those last two pages of that last project, it's like, is it watering down what you
Yeah, I
just
think so.
presented to
Yeah.
us? And
Yeah.
maybe
Better.
either you put that in the middle, like a good story,
I'd
and
be
then
like,
you finish
I'd
strong,
probably take
or
it
you
out.
just leave it out.
This
I'd
is
leave it
also, I think, in practice, though, the third one, it looks like it might be actually not uni. So I think that's why it's maybe ordered this way.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, and again, like Misty said, let's note that so that we know that that's
make it very
professional
clear.
work done
Yeah.
in a studio somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah. Just to finish up, I quite like the QR code at the end there as well.
And the
Probably
quote. A little bit more personality. Love it.
Okay, we've got Beatriz portfolio here. Cover page, any comments?
Grab my attention.
I like
Me
it.
too.
Nice
I
colours.
like it.
Beautiful
I like the
graphic.
colours.
I'm old
This is
school.
vibrant.
Bigger
Yep.
ground, bang.
Yep. This is nice.
Boom.
Ooh, a lot of words.
Ooh.
Bit heavy on the
Paragraphs.
words.
A lot of paragraphs.
I'm
Yeah.
instantly getting too many words, I think.
Yeah. I feel a bit tired.
It's probably the same amount of information as the first folio we saw
It is.
today,
You're
but
right.
the layout then challenges us a bit more. And even say technical skills underneath there, that didn't need to be bold. All of those different software skills, and I think indenting, bullet points, all of those things help us read things quickly. Whereas this looks more like an essay, and we're going to think we have to read it. Whereas on the first folio, we could just look at dot points and
Yeah.
take in what we wanted to and breeze past.
Yep.
Agree.
Well, this is clear. Back to the nice diagram. Yeah. And nice and clear. Good colours.
So yeah, they've done the classic thing which most grads do. They put all their uni work first and the professional work's chapter 5.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And ideally,
So-
we'd like that.
Well, again, it depends a bit like how, if the professional work really is very, very minimal, then that's okay. But ideally, you'd probably want to see that first.
Okay.
Urban Collective.
So we started with, like, we've not really seen any architecture yet.
No, this
I
is
think
just
that's
all
an issue. You know,
logos.
we're about 5
There's nothing
pages
about
in.
her. This is just logos and
Yeah.
text.
I don't
Logos and
mind that
diagrams.
there's a little QR code in the corner saying full video. So if it was a good project, you could go more drawings or more.
Yeah, I used to interview with a massive folio beside me as a backup if you need to deep dive when it was A4 paper or A3 paper, but these days it's all online.
The AO portfolio.
That's right.
A zoom in of the one we just saw. Probably don't need to repeat
Okay, now
that.
that's nicer, more
This is
interesting.
probably the first
I'd
piece
have
of architecture we've seen,
delete
really.
those other pages and just go straight to this.
Yeah, even the previous image, you might put that as your big splash image, and then this is the project.
Yeah.
This is interesting, but I feel a bit lost of which one
3D
this went
printing.
with. Yeah.
Something to do with 3D printing. Yeah. Delete. I'm harsh.
I mean, I think, look, it's showing 3D modelling skills, so that to
Yeah.
me looks like it was maybe done in Rhino and Grasshopper or
Yeah.
maybe SketchUp. So it's showing a little bit of parametric or 3D
Yeah.
modelling skill, which is good, but it doesn't quite tell a story of the project. Like, I'm not sure where we are in terms of what this project is about and then how we've got to this point. It doesn't have a clear narrative.
What I would say is that it's not. They could put all of this information onto fewer sheets, and we'd still be able to read it because we can take in imagery so quickly.
Yeah.
In our line of work, that this needed 15 images on it. They could have condensed those 3 or 4 pages into one page to cover this whole project, and we would have seen, they've done 3D printing. We would have seen some diagrams, and it would have bring it more together coherently in one splash.
Less is more. Yeah.
Yeah. Project 2.
I like her diagrams and the colour. I've got to say that's a strength in this portfolio.
Definitely.
But again, more words.
Too many words, yeah.
There's too many words. This is a portfolio. We need it to be, visual.
Things falling off the page, even though they're kind of bleeding off the page. I think it doesn't feel like the composition's great on this page.
Yeah.
I think we're
I
getting
agree.
too much white space and too much contrast.
And again, the text is not aligned, so you
It's
wouldn't
just no
draw like that.
architecture
You
either.
wouldn't label like that.
It
Sorry.
didn't. The writing, the text didn't need to be on a black background. It could have been black on the white background and floated there.
And aligned.
Yeah.
Sorry, Beatrice. Yeah, not showing any of your work. Not
We've lost
interested.
resolution
Nice
You're
there
bored.
as
photo,
well.
but I'm not sure.
I
where
don't know
the
what I'm looking at
project
there.
is.
Is it just a photo of space?
Oh, here we go.
It's
Is
and
there
that could
anything
have been
else
done on the
coming
same
up?
page. Oh, it's a double page spread.
We're still in the thesis. I think we need to skip ahead and see if
Yeah.
there's where's the
Okay.
work.
We need
So I'll
chapter.
skip through a couple
Keep
of
going.
pages.
Keep going. So a
Cool.
bit of urban thinking.
Yep.
Some urban diagrams.
That's a better
That's a bit
page.
better. Yeah.
That is a better page.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I do bullet points.
Yep.
Here
Just
we've
could have
got
gone at the
some kind
front.
of a station. No idea what that is. Ooh.
Again, too few images on
This is
each
nice.
page.
That next one. This is nice. I think I'd put that at the front potentially.
Yeah, at least it makes it look like a more
Yeah.
substantial urban project.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you
That's
could
good.
dive down into the station if that's what they're looking at. So we see that from the outside, and then we dive into the project. Or if it's the urban landscape as well, then we can deep dive into that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
She has a nice eye for the rendering colours, I think. This is also nice,
Love
even
the
though it's a
colour.
bit more subdued.
Yeah.
Mm.
Here we go.
We've got
Professional work.
now at the back.
Oh, I like the little diagrams here. Oh, here
Oh,
we go.
wow.
Towers.
So this is straight away the strongest images we've seen in the portfolio,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, but kind of confusing. Like, how many projects is this? This is where you probably could break this into 3 pages if it's 3 projects, or
Oh, there you go.
is it all one project?
Software, Revit and AutoCAD as well. So we've got some Revit skill, which is in demand.
And I'm guessing it says in the paragraph what she did on the project. So I feel like that's hard for me to decipher from here.
Yeah.
But it's, this looks like a great drawing. So it'd be great to see, general arrangements.
This is what will get you
sections,
hired. This should be in the
facade
first
detailing.
5 pages of the folio.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That's what.
Yeah, this is what we're
someone will
looking
go,
for.
okay,
Yeah.
yep.
And then when
Horrible.
when we piqued our interest with their skill set from professional practice, if they, if they're not just an absolute recent graduate, then we see what they can do for us, and then we can see what they can do for themselves with us.
Yeah.
And so then you see what they're doing at uni, where they can show off what they're capable of. Whereas in practice, obviously, you're just often documenting other people's ideas.
And this is a named practice, so people will know this name of the practice architect.
They might even know the project. They might have lost the design competition on this job, and they'll be like, "Oh, what are they up to? What have they done?"
Yeah.
And add in all the details that you actually drew or anything that you worked on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd be celebrating this professional work and putting this towards the front for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got more professional work here, which is some kind of sports stadium.
Stadium, yeah.
Something, yeah.
Here we go. Something else. Some little collaborations. It's kind of fun. I think this is at the right spot in the portfolio. It's at the end. It's something else.
Bit of personality.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a retail fit out. Is that what this is?
Is that a private job?
It's
hard
a
to read
visual
from here.
cinema 4D. Actually looks like quite a good visual if that's what that is.
It feels like it's more university work.
Again, you can QR code that. Oh, this is interesting. 3D printing with clay. This is something from university.
Yeah.
But I think lots of practices would probably be interested in that kind of facade study.
Component design. So, lots of 3D. The 3D printing that is of interest to certain practices.
And that's it. Oh, no,
Oh,
sorry.
this is beautiful.
Okay.
I quite like that. I'd keep that.
Yeah.
That's nice. I think, again, she's got great... the colours are good, aren't they? She's got a nice way of presenting images.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just
They're quite
aligned
beautiful.
university work. You know, they're electives, I think, and they're just showing off that information, which is great.
Right. I think we're at the end of this one.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, here comes Jack. Jack.
Okay, portfolio number 3. We've got Jack.
Nice and clear. No CV, or are we going
It's
to get
clear.
one?
Maybe
Oh,
that's
I see.
separate.
No
I don't
CV.
mind
No
that.
separate
As they
CV.
would have
And we know
submitted
we're
it.
looking at 3 projects.
Great.
But we
Bang.
don't know if they're professional or student work.
No, we don't.
We assume professional. I don't know. Paragraph. Not so keen on
This
the
is,
paragraph.
I think, RIBA stages. I know.
At least we know what
This
we're
is
looking
actually a
at
project,
straight
I
away.
think.
Like we know we're looking at a residential master plan
Yep.
instantly.
Yep.
So
Good
I don't
hierarchy
mind.
of imagery, so diagrammatic in smaller and then actually more detail in a larger blow-up.
Yeah.
Yep. Very nice. Oh, I like this.
Fun, yeah. Gives you a lot of information in one page. Shows a kind of a flair for not like realistic representation, but at the same time, it's quite beautiful.
Quite nicely rendered, aren't they?
Yeah, good character.
Yeah.
Nice shadows. It's all quite nicely laid out.
Again, the text and the sort of use of white space at the bottom as well gives it nice room to breathe. And from the first page to this second page, we can see we've gone from a master plan and then we've gone down in scale to a sort of street view level, which makes it really easy to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Go backwards.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, this is nice. I
Oh,
like
good.
this.
Yeah,
We've
got a little
broken
bit of
it
technical
down.
detailing. That's good to see.
So is this project number 2, I think?
I think we're still in here.
So at the bottom, we've got Project 1, Milton Keynes, and then we've got Project 2, Cathcart
yeah,
Road.
you're right.
Okay.
Cathcart
So
Road,
that-
London.
That wasn't
Interesting.
super clear, the
So
transition.
maybe a
from
transition
Project
with
1.
us just a
Or the
cover
bigger
slide that we
number
can go
2.
straight through. Like it's a cover page, and then you go because we don't dwell on the cover page, but just so we know we've changed.
We've moved on. And I also think maybe the space that we were just referencing, there's less of it. So around that number 2 and the sort of the mapping, it's a bit unclear with the font or that text above it. There's a big paragraph.
Yeah, I agree. This
Yep.
page is slightly more crowded.
Yep. I like this.
And this is the third
And
project.
this is the third page.
Yep.
So we've basically just got one page for Project 2, and we only got one page for Project 3
Yeah.
It's
as well.
brief,
We've
but I
got more on
kind of
Project
want
3?
more. I
Brief,
think he looks good.
yeah.
Oh, here there is a bit more.
Oh, so we've got more on Project 3.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We've got heaps
So-
on Project 3.
Mm.
It feels interesting. It feels like Project 2, they've accidentally dropped stuff off.
Yeah.
It almost feels like
Or they
we're left
should
wanting
move-
more. And it feels like, oh, was that a weak project that they did and they put one page in, but they didn't go any further than that?
I feel like
I'd
it's
almost
there for
take
the
it out.
detailing.
Or,
I
yeah,
think
maybe it's just
the
there
only
for the
one that he's
detailing.
got
But
that
maybe
kind
put that
of
as your
cut
third
section.
project.
Maybe.
There's no scale on that too. I'd love it if it said, 1 to whatever it is, 1 to.
The other thing is maybe you break your
Yeah.
on the front cover sheet, you break it up and say, here are 2 projects, and then here's just a dive into something else. So you don't call this out as a project. And you display it in a different way, and maybe you have a couple of details on this sheet from other projects.
Yeah. just make a technical section.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the first project probably was the strongest as well. I think the way we started with a very clear sort of large scale master plan into a smaller scale elevation of the actual street. You'd almost want to see this project go, you know, what you'd want the next page of this to be an even more
you want
zoomed
the
in
floor
shot.
plans of
Yeah.
one unit block, like one of those housing developments, so that we can understand that you know how you're planning inside, and whether or not they were asked to do that, but they didn't feel comfortable with that. And so you were wanting more from that first project, and it did set us up quite well. Then we got lost in the middle, and then they finished strong again. But then it's almost a completely different style of presentation in a sense, and maybe because they're exploring different ways of presenting projects at university, but maybe you've got to rethink how you then relay it out for your portfolio.
And you'd probably, I mean, sometimes, you know, again, less is more. I think, Matt, would you want to interview this person to see more, or would you maybe request a few more details?
I think I would. Yeah, I
would.
would want to interview them, because I think that third project and the first project gives us enough information to say, hey, let's dive in. Like particularly these diagrams down the side, that big section
That's
on the
nice.
previous page. It shows a lot of understanding of scale and line weights and even space. And those plans across the top are beautiful. The inside, outside, the ability, permeability of this project means that we'd want to interview them, because they've got an understanding of how a building sits on a site.
So 3 projects. Anything that stands out to anyone? Any do's and don'ts? Any further ideas after seeing these 3?
It's interesting. I think the first portfolio is probably the strongest looking back on it. It was the most coherent. It came together across the board as the one that it was put together as a single portfolio. The second 2 portfolios were sort of independent projects that were presented to us that were just bound together. So I think that's one takeaway for me.
I think the third one, not having a CV attached to this portfolio. So I think it is good if they're attached, because we kind of dove in and we were a bit like, we don't know whether Jack's got, 5 years out of uni, or whether he's just worked through university, or what the story is. And we don't know what CAD proficiency he has. There's a lot of gaps, but we can see he's got proficiency. So, despite those missing things.
I don't necessarily mind that, because usually a candidate would have, if that's how they've done it, they would have sent the CV at the same time. And so some people prefer to have their CV in a more of an A4 format, say, and sometimes they'll go landscape with the portfolio, and so they will separate the two into 2 documents. So that alone doesn't bother me if you get 2 documents.
Yeah.
But I think, there's definitely a lesson in thinking harder about what to take out. If there's things that sort of dilute the quality of your folio, take it out. If in doubt, take it out. And then
definitely.
again, avoid paragraphs, because
Agreed.
people's eyes glaze over. You've got to assume someone like a director or us, if it's us getting it, you're probably going through a whole lot of email. You're like, this afternoon I'm going to go through all those applications I got, and you do not want to be reading through paragraphs and paragraphs for every graduate.
Yeah, it needs to be visual.
It's either dot points, or it's actually a leader text to an image on the page, and you're pointing out a particular element within that design. But if it's paragraphs, we want to hear that from you. If you come in for an interview, then you can talk about these images. But we don't want to have to read about the image.
Yeah,
Totally. The portfolio should almost tell a story without any text, in a way.
Yep.
When you start, like in that last...
Oh, I don't know about that. But that's going back to what I said not to do at the beginning. Don't just have total photo montage. You need some...
I think some context
as minimal as possible.
But, maybe a quick introduction into the project, but then you could have a few pages with barely any text, because if you go from a large hero shot or something that gives it context, and then it goes down in scale to a elevation or a plan, and then the next page goes down into details of that plan or elevation, it's got a coherent kind of story to it that you can follow without over explanation. And then, like Matt said, once you're in the interview, then you can kind of elaborate on these pages and what you're seeing without putting blocks of text on the page.
And I think making sure it's a snapshot of your abilities, because I think, we've seen a couple of these ones where they just went on with similar images that didn't say anything different to the page before. So you really want to be succinct, because, like we said at the beginning, whoever's looking at it is really busy, they're under-resourced, and they're looking to get you in to help with their workload. And it needs to be, I can do this, but I can also do this. And did I forget to mention that I can also detail, and here's a nice rendering. Thank you.
All right, guys, I think that's everything. Thank you very much for that. Special thanks to Matt. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
That was really good. And for any more portfolio or any other career tips and tricks, go to the Bespoke Careers website. Thanks.
That was really
Good.
Yeah.
well done.
Boom.